Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. I'm Zach, and I told you guys in my previous update video that I had a few ideas for videos in the holidays that I could do, and I was hoping to get this video out sooner, but I had a few complications with my camera. I had a lot of photos on them that I needed to transfer, and I didn't have an awful lot of space on my computer. Sorry, not computer, camera. But now, finally, I originally tried to record this on Monday, but I ran out of memory space halfway through the recording. So here I am retrying it on Thursday today. So this is the video idea I had. So let me just turn the screen around thing. Excuse me. So, on my bed here, I have got part of my DVD and Blu-ray collection. I thought, and I've seen other YouTubers do this, and I thought, you know what, maybe I could show you my DVD or Blu-ray collection. I could do that, considering that, as you guys know, I am a film buff. I like movies. I'm hoping to direct a film. I've done a short film, which, again, it's basically done, guys. The thumbnail is done. Credit to Sabing Viper, or Ryan, who is in the film. He helped me out with the screenshot. Well, he basically did the screenshot. I just added one photo into the background. So, yeah, the film will be out very, very soon, guys. Not too long to go. Now, I would like to point out, guys, this is not my whole DVD and Blu-ray collection. I have got many, many more. And ultimately, I could do a part 2, guys. I could do a, whatever, Zach's Blu-ray Blu-ray/DVD collection part 2. I could show you the ones that I've got in my lounge as well, because I've got a lot more than this, guys. This is only part of my collection. So if you guys enjoy the video, just give a shoot down in the comment below and basically tell me, do you want to see a second part to this video? Do you want to see me showing you the other sort of DVDs and Blu-rays that I've got? Because, yeah, I've got quite a few. So, these are the ones that I've got in my bedroom, obviously, in my cupboard. So, now, one of the things, just before I start the video, just before I go through and show you what I've got, well, you're basically seeing it now, you can see that on a lot of these ones, there's 7-day hire. On this one, it's $5 for 7 days. Why are so many of these DVDs and Blu-rays, well, not really the Blu-rays, more or less the DVDs, why are so many of them second-hand? Well, that is because a lot of DVD shops and Blu-ray shops where you can rent DVDs and stuff like that, a lot of them have been closing down this year. So many of those shops are closing down. I believe there's only one in the Wellington region, only one that's operating, and because everybody's now realizing, oh my gosh, the DVD shops are closing down, we should have used them more often, basically that one's doing really well, so I doubt it will be closing anytime soon. It's really sad, honestly. I really hope that DVDs and Blu-rays don't become a thing of the past, but every single one of these DVDs I actually got this year, guys. I've spent my own money on them for the most part. In fact, yeah, I think I spent all of these, I spent my own money on. I wanted them, so I bought them, and all of these I got this year. I don't think any of them were from like 2017, or I think all of these were purchased this year, 2018. So let's start off with the ones at the top. Okay. The Matrix Revisited. Now this, I believe, is a documentary on how they made the film The Matrix, which, if you haven't seen The Matrix, go see it immediately, because it's an amazing movie. It's one of my favourites. So this is basically, as you can see, a mind-expanding look at The Matrix from conception to phenomenon. So basically, this is a really rare DVD, I believe. I don't know where you can get it. I don't know if you can get it anymore. But I basically saw this, I'd heard of it, I knew that it was out there, but I never expected to actually find it in the DVD store, so I immediately thought, you know what, I should buy this, I like the film, I want to see how they made it. So, yeah, it's basically a look at the production of the film. Yeah, it's cool. I haven't actually, I'm going to be honest, guys, it's been quite a long time since I bought it, and I actually haven't got around to taking a look at it. I have watched all of these DVDs here, I'm pretty sure, except for that one, except for The Matrix Revisited, so I'll hopefully get around to doing that soon. So yeah, that's the first one. Tron Legacy. Now, Tron Legacy is the sequel to a 1982 film called Tron, which is basically, it was a cutting-edge science fiction film. Wasn't very popular at the time, but it's basically become a cult classic. Stars Jeff Bridges, and this is basically the sequel, which came out in 2010. I have watched the first Tron movie. The sequel here, it's nothing groundbreaking or anything, but it's got amazing music, amazing visuals and special effects, which, you know, a lot of people criticized it for that, for being just, like, quote-unquote style over substance, but I mean, that's kind of what the first Tron was like too. Like, it had like lots of synthesizer music, and it was like a groundbreaking. It was like basically the pioneer for CGI in movies. So, is it really that surprising that the second movie would be basically all about the visuals and the sound? It's cool. It's a cool movie. It's not perfect, but you know what? It's fun, and yeah, I enjoy it. So that's why I decided to get it. Where should I... Oh, yep. Okay. Jurassic Park by Steven Spielberg. Let's, there we are. Jurassic Park, directed by Steven Spielberg, came out in 1993. I had heard a lot about this movie. I wanted to see it, so I bought it, and it's a good movie. Again, another sort of groundbreaker for CGI with the digital dinosaurs and stuff like that. I have not watched any of the other Jurassic Park movies. I have not watched... Lost World. I have not watched Jurassic Park 3 or the two Jurassic World movies. I don't really care about them. I just wanted to see the first one. I don't think I'm ever going to watch any of the other ones. It's good. It's actually got a New Zealand actor in it, Sam Neill, who's pretty famous, at least in our country. Although I'm sure he's famous in other countries too. But yeah, so Jurassic Park, I really like that. Really well directed, very tension filled as well, and yeah, that's basically it. Now, I should go down to these ones here. Batman, the original Batman came out... Whoops, wrong one. Because guys, you got to realise that this is actually quite hard to do, because I'm actually holding the camera and I'm looking through the screen here, so it's quite hard to know where I'm reaching. This is the original Batman, directed by Tim Burton, and came out in 1989. Michael Keaton stars as Batman. I actually got this very early on. There's Jack Nicholson as the Joker. This was one of the first... I sort of purchased a lot of these movies in... a lot of the second-hand movies in little groups. This was one of the first ones, along with the other original Batman movies, these 4 Batman movies here. Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. I purchased those 4 all together. I actually haven't watched this in a while. I watched this earlier this year, and I've kind of forgotten what happens in it. I've sort of forgotten the plot, so I'd better rewatch it at some point. I know what happened... I remember what happens in Batman Forever, because I know that had the Penguin and Catwoman in it, as you can see. This was also done by Tim Burton. Yeah, that's right, Danny DeVito in it. So I remember much more of what happens in this one than I do the first one. So, voice crack. Major voice crack there. So, yeah, I'd probably better rewatch these two, or at least rewatch the first one, because I don't really remember an awful lot of what happened in it. But yeah, so I got that and the sequel, Batman Returns. And I also got the 2 Joel Schumacher directed ones, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, which I'm sure that you guys might have heard of. I'm not too sure. Batman Forever. Now, basically, Tim Burton, his dark sort of gothic style, was abandoned, and they hired Joel Schumacher to direct a far more kid-friendly, jokey, campy Batman movies. Batman Forever. Now, Batman Forever is interesting. It's not a good movie because it's really sort of over the top and corny, and you know you can't take it seriously. But it's a guilty pleasure. I'm going to be honest. I enjoyed it first watching it. It's a guilty pleasure for sure. Even though you cannot take it seriously. It's so corny and overblown. And you know, the two villains, which you can see here, Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey play who is it? Two-Face and the Riddler. They're basically like big cartoon, overblown caricatures of villains, and you can't take it as seriously as you can the original two by Tim Burton, but it's a guilty pleasure. I enjoy it. Same can't be said for Batman and Robin. This is considered to be, and this is actually the reason why I decided to buy it. It's considered to be one of the most hilariously bad movies ever. This basically takes the campy, jokey nature of Batman Forever and like multiplies it by 10. It's got George Clooney, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Alicia Silverstone, Uma Thurman, Chris O'Donnell. Yeah, it's bad. It's so overblown and so silly, and again, it's sort of like it's so bad that it's kind of hilarious in a way. So yeah, it's an enjoyable watch, even though it is terrible. But yeah, Batman and Robin. That is why I decided to get it, and that's also why I decided to get Batman Forever as well, because you know, they're two very overblown, corny movies, so I just sort of thought, whatever, you know, I'll get them along with the original too, so I'll get onto that in a moment, but Alex Rider Stormbreaker. Now, this came out in 2006. This is an adaptation of the first book in the Alex Rider series, which I have read. I love the Alex Rider books. They were a big part of my sort of... Well, I'm still kind of in my teenagehood here, but they were a big part of my teenhood reading life, because I read quite a lot, and I love the Alex Rider books. I've actually got them. You can actually see them there, stacked up in that vertical column. Crocodile Tears, Snakehead, Archangel, and that one with the lightning bolt down the bottom, the purple one, is Stormbreaker, which is the book that this movie was adapted from. The book is better, but I enjoy the movie. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's just nice to see. You know, it's not always great to see a book being adapted into a movie, but you know what? I think this is a very fun addition, even though arguably isn't perfect. The Animatrix. Now this came out in 2003. This is actually a series of animated short films that take place in the universe of The Matrix, because like I said, I'm a Matrix fan. This came out, so yeah, Final Flight of the Osiris, The Second Resonance, so yeah, these are basically a series of animated short films done by, I believe, Japanese anime or manga animators or something like that. So basically, these came out around the times that the Matrix sequels were coming out in 2003. I enjoy these. They're very interesting additions to the franchise. So yeah, this was. I saw this and I just sort of thought, why don't I get this? You know, it'll be fun as a Matrix fan. So yeah, there's that. Ghost in the Shell. Now, my mum actually worked on this movie. My mum actually works on films, guys. She works in the costume department. She actually does the costumes for a lot of films. She's worked on the Lord of the Rings films, and she's worked on several other ones. And she's worked on an upcoming one called Mortal Engines, which is coming out very soon. It's coming out in December, so go see that. So yeah, she worked on this in 2016. This came out in 2017. It didn't do very well at the box office, unfortunately. I enjoy it because I like cyberpunk movies. Like I said, I'm a Matrix fan, and so I enjoyed Ghost in the Shell because it's sort of very science fiction-y, very sort of cyberpunk, very high-tech. You know, the jaw-dropping feast for the senses is a future classic. So now I enjoyed it when I first saw it, and then I bought it and I watched it. I bought it, as you can see, I've got it here, obviously. And I watched it a second time, and the second time I watched it wasn't as good as the first time, so, you know, maybe I need to rewatch it a third time. But yeah, so it all depends on what you think about it. I mean, it's got problems. I think, even though my mum worked on it, I've got to admit it's got problems, but it's fun. I enjoy it. And, you know, the fact that my mum worked on it, I've kind of got to defend it in a way, so there's that. Ghost in the Shell. So yeah, finally, one that I have not bought from a second-hand store. I bought this from JB Hi-Fi. Daft Punk Unchained. Now, the reason why I bought this is because I am a huge Daft Punk fan. I love their music. Anybody who doesn't like Daft Punk has terrible taste in music. Just kidding. Just kidding. Opinions are opinions, guys. But I love Daft Punk. I love their music. And I'd always wanted to watch this documentary on them. I think it was originally French, but they sort of... Yeah, it's directed by a French director. I mean, Daft Punk are French, but... Yeah, so basically, this is basically a documentary on Daft Punk. One of my favourites, well, technically there's two of them, so two of my favourite musicians, because I love their music. You should definitely check out their songs. So yeah, there's Daft Punk Unchained, a really good documentary. Yeah, very fascinating as a fan of their work. So I decided to get that. There's The Walk, another second-hand one, obviously. The Walk, this is actually based on a true story. As you can see the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center there. So this is from Robert Zemeckis. This is based on, what's his name? Philippe Petit, I believe. And this is his true story of him in the 1970s, I believe. And he walks on a... high wire between the World Trade Towers. So, obviously, you know, as a bit of a skyscraper person, I love skyscrapers, guys. I know that's a very bizarre thing to have a fascination with, but I find skyscrapers and high-rises fascinating, and, yeah, so I watched this movie. It's a really good movie, and, I was actually reading Philippe Petit's book. I don't remember what it's called. I don't remember what the book is called, but I was reading his book that he wrote based on his experiences actually doing this back in the 70s. And this mirrors a lot of what actually happened. So it's probably a reasonably faithful cinematic sort of reconstruction of what actually happened. So I would definitely recommend you guys checking out that film. Inception, directed by the man himself, Christopher Nolan. I remember we had Netflix for a short while, and me and my parents watched this movie. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-bending, this movie. Another sort of... No, I don't know whether to call this sort of science fiction. It's sort of like... I mean, it is science fiction, but it's sort of not sort of technology science fiction, sort of more to do with the mind and stuff like that. It sort of is based on, you know, the stuff of dreams and stuff like that. It's sort of similar to The Matrix in a sense. Yeah, it's got an amazing stars Leonardo DiCaprio, and a lot of people consider this to be one of the best films of the 2010s. It's got amazing cinematography. It's like I said, it's really mind-bending, a crazy musical score. So yeah, I'd always wanted to rewatch this movie after I watched it the first time. So yeah, that's why I decided to get Inception. Really good movie. If you haven't checked it out, check it out right now. Signs. This came out in 2002, starring Mel Gibson. As you can see, it's done by M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. So this one is sort of like it's sort of like an alien invasion horror movie sort of thing. I'm not really sure how to describe it. I watched this with my dad because I don't think he'd watched it before. But basically, yeah, it's sort of like an alien invasion movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was good. Now, I also got another M. Night Shyamalan film for an entirely different reason, because I'd heard that Signs was good. I'd heard that Signs was apparently supposed to be good. The Happening, in the vein of Batman and Robin and another movie which I'm about to reference here, The Happening is another one of those so bad it's good movies. This movie is hilarious at moments. This movie is so, like, God, I don't know how to describe it. You've got to see it for yourself. I mean... It's bizarre. It's bizarre. The direction and the writing and everything is just so weird. It's hard not to laugh or at least smile watching this movie. So, yeah, that was quite an interesting experience watching that. Hulk. This is one of Marvel's... I believe this is one of Marvel's first superhero movies. Hulk, this came out in 2003. This is not the Hulk that you see in the MCU right now. This is not the Hulk that you see as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is Hulk, directed by Ang Lee, and it came out in 2003. I'd heard a lot about this movie, and I watched it. That's why I decided to buy it. I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's nothing like the sort of superhero movies that you see right now in the 2010s. This is clearly part of a different generation of superhero movies. But honestly, I would honestly recommend you guys checking it out because it's so interesting. It's so strange that, and when I say it's interesting and strange, I sort of mean it in a good way. Like, I enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy this movie. It's got good things in it. But it's an interesting movie, mostly because it's so different from the sort of superhero movies you see today. It's far more experimental, it's far more ambitious, and it's just, yeah, I thought it was very refreshing. So honestly, I'm not sure about you guys. I think that a lot of people would see this as, you know, worse than a lot of superhero movies that you see today. I mean, it sort of got mixed reviews at the time, so I mean, I'd recommend you guys checking it out. It's all right. It's interesting. It's weird. It's weird, but I like it because it's weird. Jupiter Ascending. Now, this is the other so bad that it's good movie. Jupiter Ascending is hysterical. Now, this is from the same, as you can see there, from the creators of the Matrix trilogy. Jupiter Ascending. This movie is bafflingly bad at times. And I watched this with my mum, and basically, we basically summarized it later when we finished watching it. I mean, it's silly. It's a very silly movie. It's like a space soap opera, and they tried to be so bold and experimental, and it's a movie where, believe it or not, there's like, I don't know how to describe it. Just, again, this is alongside Batman and Robin and where was it? The Happening. Jupiter Ascending is another one of those movies that you should probably check out yourselves because it's funny. It's bad, but it's funny. So I got this for $5. Sorry, not $5, $4. I got it for $4 at a market, and I just sort of thought, you know what? I've heard about this movie. I'll buy it. So. And I'm not going to give it away. Honestly, it's too funny to give away. So, you know what? I mean, yeah, so that's Jupiter Ascending. What else have we got here? Okay, now we've got all of the Blu-Rays here. What should I... no, we've got a couple of DVDs here. Let's start off with another DVD, Independence Day. Independence Day. Okay, a lot of people out there like this movie, and I'd heard things about this movie. I'd heard how, you know, when it came out in 1996, and this did come out in 1996, I heard that this was supposed to be like one of those... I'm just going to sit down because I'm quite tired standing up. Independence Day was supposed to be one of those really big movies, and a lot of people say, you know, it's a really good movie, it's a really good movie, and honestly, I think it's very overrated, guys. Having watched it, I like the first hour. I like the first maybe 40 minutes to an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. And it's basically this, it's another sort of alien invasion movie. And I think the first hour is pretty damn good. It sort of builds up to the alien invasion, and it's got this incredible build-up of people, you know, in the White House, you know, having to escape and stuff like that. And then they blow up several like major US landmarks, and it's pretty crazy. And then the next like hour and a half, the next half of the movie is so dull, and I couldn't imagine sitting through the second half of the movie again. It's so dull and dry and flat, and I don't like it. It completely dragged down that pretty cool first hour of the movie. It completely dragged it down, and honestly, I couldn't really imagine sitting through the whole thing again. So Independence Day, no, I don't like this movie. I think it's very overrated. It's got a cool first hour, the rest is just bleh. I mean, that's just my opinion. If you like it, that's cool. I don't. And then, let's get these. We have the Dark Knight trilogy, obviously directed again by Christopher Nolan, who did Inception up there. This started in 2005 with Batman Begins, continued in 2008 with The Dark Knight, and then finished in 2012 with The Dark Knight Rises. These movies are great. These are great movies. I love these movies, especially The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is just incredible. It's got one of the best of villains, hands down. The Joker here, Heath Ledger is just. If you haven't watched these three movies, like, just go watch them right now. Especially this one. Especially this one. I first watched this one on Netflix, and then when I saw this in the as you can see, it's secondhand. I saw it in the DVD rental shop, and I just thought, you know what, I've got to buy this because you know it's a great movie. And then I think I bought The Dark Knight Rises, but I didn't watch it until I bought Batman Begins. Then I purchased Batman Begins. I bought it for my birthday, I think, with my birthday money. I bought that. Then I watched that, and I think I rewatched that. And it's a great trilogy, guys. It's a great trilogy. These are the sorts of superhero movies that I like, guys. These are the sorts of superhero movies that I would want to watch. I like the sort of darker, edgier, more realistic superhero movies. You know, I'm not a fan of Marvel's sort of very mainstream, generic, you know, very safe way of making movies. They take very little risks. These, and I'm going to get onto some of the other superhero movies I've got here, but these are the sorts of superhero movies that I like, guys. So, yeah, you got to watch these movies, guys. They're amazing. So, just got to put The Dark Knight back there. Now, I'm actually very cautious, guys. I'm trying to keep all of these in order because I actually took these out in a certain order and I want them to be put back in that exact same order, which I think just goes to show how picky of a guy I am. I'm super meticulous with the way I pack and unpack things. So, yeah. Yeah. So, Bruce Willis, Die Hard. A good old 1980s action classic, Die Hard. I'd heard about the Die Hard movies before, so I bought the first one. It took me ages to get around to actually watching this movie. I think I bought it in April this year, and it took me a while to actually get around to watching it, but it's good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I especially like how it's not like a big over-the-top action blockbuster. It's kind of like you've got this kind of vulnerable guy who's essentially in the wrong place at the wrong time and just basically has to do everything he can to stop the terrorists. I like it. I really like Die Hard, and I don't know if I'm going to watch any of the other ones, but you know what? I'd be game to because I enjoyed this one. What should I go for next? Yes, It. I'd always wanted to watch this one. It. This was a movie that I'd wanted to watch back then, but as you can see, it's R16. I actually was 15 at the time when it came out, but I purchased it on Blu-ray, I watched it, and I've actually got the book up there. I don't know if you can see it, but I've actually... Alrighty guys, I'm sorry for that interruption there. Yeah, so apparently this camera, which I'm still experimenting with, has recording limits. So I reached the limit of recording and it just stopped filming. So yeah, I had to get the video which I'd recorded just before, the first part of this video, put it on my computer and then delete it off the camera. So I now have room to record some more. So, where were we? Well, I was talking about It. Okay, so It. Now, I actually wanted to watch this movie when it came out, but as I mentioned before, I wasn't actually old enough at the time. And I've actually got the book up there. I actually got the book for Christmas, and I read it before I watched the actual movie. It's a really good book. It's a huge book, but it's really good. I really enjoyed reading it. And I'm really excited for It Chapter 2, which is coming out next year. And now that I think about it, it's not actually a while until the next one actually comes out. I'm assuming it's going to be coming out around the same time that this one came out. Yeah, I really enjoy this movie. I really enjoy it, especially as somebody who's read the book. It's a very faithful adaptation. Bill Skarsgård is great as Pennywise, and all the actors of the Kids for the Losers Club are also great. So I've watched all the behind the scenes bonus content and stuff. So that's it. I guess you could say that's it, but get it, pun intended. That's it. So you know it. That was a really terrible joke. Okay, so okay, then I've got the DCEU movies here: Justice League, Batman v Superman, and Man of Steel. So I got Batman v Superman out like April of this year, and I was expecting to really not like it, but it's actually one of my favourite movies right now. I really love this movie, and this is one of those rare times where I just have to say, screw anybody who doesn't like this movie. Screw anybody who doesn't like Man of Steel too. I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're allowed opinions, guys. You're allowed opinions. Just respect my opinion, and I'll respect yours. So, I love Batman v Superman. I love Man of Steel. I do not love Justice League, however. What I did was I loved Batman v Superman, and then I bought Man of Steel. This is actually like a box set. As you can see, it's like a metal box. This is a box set edition of Man of Steel. And I rented Justice League from one of the remaining DVD stores in Wellington, and I actually wasn't going to buy it because I didn't think it's nowhere near as good as these two, in my opinion. But then I just bought it anyway out of obligation to finish off the Zack Snyder DCEU trilogy. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of Justice League. I enjoy it, but it's nowhere near as good as those two. I love Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Like I said, anybody who doesn't like them, I think just don't get them, frankly. I think a lot of people misunderstood them entirely. That's just my opinion. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Just don't hate me for doing it. Just don't act like, a child, because everybody's got opinions. And as a fan of Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, and as somebody who enjoys Justice League, even though I don't really think it's as great as these two, I got another Zack Snyder movie. Zack Snyder directed these three. Well, I guess he kind of directed Justice League, because most of Justice League was reshot by Joss Whedon, who directed The Avengers. But Zack Snyder, who directed Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, I got another of his movies, Watchmen, which is another R16 one. This movie is very dark and gritty, and again, these are the sort of superhero movies that I like, guys. I like these sort of dark, more realistic, gritty superhero movies. I'm not a fan of like the stuff that Marvel does. I like stuff like The Dark Knight. I like stuff like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Batman Begins. I like these dark, gritty ones. And Watchmen is another sort of comic book superhero movie. This is very violent. This is an incredibly dark movie. It's really good though. I really enjoy it. I think it's very interesting and experimental. It's as it says there, visually faultless. It's absolutely stunning to look at. But then again, isn't every Zack Snyder movie visually stunning to look at? So yeah, that's Watchmen. I bought this because I enjoyed those other Zack Snyder movies that I have. So that's Watchmen. And I think I have showed you all of my DVDs and Blu-Rays that I've got in my bedroom. So yeah, these are basically all of the movies that I have got. Not all of the movies that I've got entirely, but all the movies that I've actually got in my bedroom. I've got so many more in the lounge, guys. I have got plenty of other DVDs and Blu-rays that I could show you. If you guys enjoyed this video, please just let me know in the comments below if you want to see maybe a second part of this, if you want to see, another one of these sorts of videos, and I'll do it for you guys, because like I said, now that I've got time off, I really wanted to get some videos out, so I thought, might as well show you the sort of movies that I watch and that I enjoy watching in my own time. So, let me just turn this screen around. There we are. So guys, there we are. That's much better. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in another video very soon. Peace out. Go with happiness.